Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. This is your host, Emmett Muckles. We are doing it again, and this time on the Billionaire Lifestyle. You know, most of the time I talk about the Trinity, the mind, the body, the spirit, and law of attraction, and how that all comes into being, because we're born billionaires. 30 days after that inception, 2 to the power of 30, you're a billionaire. So now it's time to get to living life. But today I'm going to take it back to the basics of what everyone thinks when they think the billionaire lifestyle. I'm going to start with the financing, this man-created thing that has been controlling our lives for about a millennium now. Actually, it's not even that long. But today I have James Goi Jr, the Attract Money Guru. And I'm looking at this gentleman. He looks like a guru, like he's up on the mount, and I'm going to come to him and ask him for some wisdom, which we are going to do today, because he is the best-selling author of How to Attract Money Using Mind Power. How are you today, James?
I'm doing really great, Emmett. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. So you have been on a journey yourself, and I'm sure you didn't come out of the womb understanding all the knowledge that you have accumulated over the years. So before we get deep into the questions, how did you come to be where you are now?
Right. Well, I'm originally from New Jersey, and I moved to California on my own at the age of 19. And within the first few years, I started finding my very first books on spirituality, mind power, law of attraction, and just that whole realm, paranormal even. And but the subject of the idea that our minds could actually have an effect on material reality beyond our own reach of our fingers. In other words, that our minds could go out and cause things to happen in the universe. That was what really was the light bulb, and it changed my entire life. Early books such as Think and Grow Rich and whatnot. And so I started buying all of the books I could find on the subject, and just made a real study of it. Within a few short years, I was teaching in small venues like the metaphysical bookstore circuit around San Diego and over in Sedona, Arizona for a while. And it led to me ultimately writing my first book, How to Attract Money Using Mind Power. And one reason was because I found that routinely people would express frustration, really, that, like, why doesn't this work for money? I use visualization and affirmations, and I got my life partner of my dreams, or the home of my dreams. But how come why doesn't it work for money? And I knew it did work for money because I've used it for money. And so that's why I wrote the book, to address that, that mind power, what I call mind power, absolutely works. It works in every area of human life, including finances. So I wanted to write the go-to book for that subject.
So some people could just say, this is just one of those other positive thinking things that everybody's talking about, and it's very generic. And does that fall into this realm, or is this very specific?
Well, I quote 160 other authors in the book. So it's not, it's very clear when you read the book that this is not just like my opinions. It's quite a short book. You can read it in a sitting or two, but it took me actually 9 years to write it, on and off. I had a busy life. I moved between states multiple times, but I just kept coming back to the book. And, basically the bottom line on that is that what I'm teaching in the book is the same stuff that the mystics and the great minds have been teaching humanity for hundreds and even thousands of years. It's in all the great religions and spiritual traditions and from the great minds, scientists and everything else. But I've tailored it for the specific purpose of attracting money. Now, once you use it in that way and you start getting yourself the money you need, which frees you up in other ways, then you can use the same exact techniques to do anything else you want to do. But I think that with more money, it reduces people's stress. It gives them more time. It gives them the resources to be able to pursue their other dreams and passions.
You know, one of the biggest items that I run into with people is they know what they want, but they don't know what they want. So I'll give you for instance. Last night I had to DJ a party, and a woman comes up to me and she says, "Play me something good." And I said, "Can you be more specific?" "Play me something I want to hear." "Can you get even more specific?" "Play something that was out in the last year." You see, I'm whittling it down. "Is there a specific artist you'd like to hear?" "I don't know." Now, I'm going to translate that to life. So when people say, "I need more money," but they don't know what they need it for, does it help to be very specific, like the amount of money or the goal of the money for it to come to fruition?
Right. It's very important. The universe and our subconscious minds love specificity. They love us to be specific. Now, if someone walks up to me and they say, "I really want to have more money," I will reach into my pocket and grab a penny and hand it to them. And I'll say, "There you go. Mission accomplished." "Well, yeah, but I meant even more money." And I'll reach in, I'll give them a nickel. "Okay, there we go. You know, what else can we do for you?" And people need to understand that they're always getting money. I mean, even homeless people get money. You know, people give them money. But no, you do need to start to get an idea and create the mental climate and start to, have the imagery in your mind of how much money. And in the book, I talk about money goals. It's actually an optional step. You don't have to set specific money goals, although it's very helpful. But you do have to start having a definite idea. Are you talking hundreds? Are you talking thousands, tens of thousands, hundred thousands? Do you want millions of dollars? You really need to start getting more specific, not only on the amounts, but what's that going to look like? Okay, fine. Now you've got that $10 million you've been talking about. Where do you live? What kind of home are you in? How are you spending your time? We need to, our minds, through our thoughts, feelings, and images and the words we speak, basically, we're creating our reality as we go. And so we want to get specific and really, find out and determine what exactly is it we want. So then we can start using our mind power for those specific ends.
So what about when people say one thing, but they're inside their head, and you and I are conversating. I'm asking questions to find out what's in your head and vice versa. But we can say one thing, but we can believe something totally different. How important is really making those alignments together, what you speak into the world and what you believe internally, to make it come to fruition?
Well, it's absolutely indispensable. At some point, those have to merge, what we want and what we are determined to get, what we would like to have and what we believe we can have and come to expect that we will have. It's very important. But luckily, our subconscious minds, which are really the creative mechanism, it's an automatic creative mechanism that actually brings to us things into our lives based on what we put into it or what we allow to go into it. And so we can, through repetition, recondition the subconscious mind. So we have a desire over here, oh, I'd like to have this amount of money, but we have this inner belief or conflict of, money's hard to get, and maybe, I don't really deserve to have that much, or, if I have all that money, other people are going to do without. So we set up all this conflict. But through repetition of reconditioning the subconscious mind with the thoughts, feelings, and images, and using our words to help us do that, so that our subconscious minds will come to believe and expect and accept what it is we've determined we want. The subconscious mind can and will create anything, and it's the real powerhouse. But in our conscious minds, that's where we decide what we're going to set it to work on.
So in your book, you bring up the money mindset. Is that part of the money mindset, is bringing everything together, not just your words, not just you writing it on a piece of paper or a vision board, but really making it part of the trinity of being a human?
Right. Because your money mindset at its core is basically every thought and feeling or emotion and image. But really, images arise from thoughts and feelings. So if we just look at our thoughts and feelings having anything to do with money whatsoever, they should be positive. And so that does not only have to do with our own financial concerns, our own money, but our money mindset is made up of the thoughts and feelings we have about money in any way, shape, or form, no matter whose money it is or what is happening with it. So now there's a lot to, I can admit there's a lot to criticize about governments, how they use money.
Yeah. We
gripe about taxes. Big corporations are taking advantage of people and, making a lot of money, lying, and even harming our health. And we could go on about that. But what I want people to understand, when they indulge in that negative kind of thinking, see, the subconscious mind is very, it's all encompassing.
It takes in everything.
It takes in everything. And so if you keep linking negative thoughts and feelings about money, it doesn't matter if it's the government you're griping about or what, you're mixing a negative thoughts and emotions with the concept of money. And that's what we don't want to do. We want to have our money mindset be a very powerful, positive, attractive force to money. And to those ends, we always want to strive to think and have emotions in line with that are anything to do with money that are positive. And if we can't pull that off, then at least neutral. But we really want to avoid, if at all possible, in every single instance possible, mixing negative thoughts and feelings with the concept of money, regardless of whose money or, how that's coming about.
Yeah, human beings have this incredible way of bringing things into this plane. One way to do it is through speaking. Another way is through drawing, where you manifest something into this physical plane that we reside on. The biggest one that has one of the greatest impacts is speech. And in chapter 8 of your book, you say, speak as if. Can you expand upon that so that people can really grasp that concept?
Certainly. It's so important. People in general do not realize how powerful our words are. And just to back up that statement a bit, here's a quote from The Science of Success, published in 1914. The author is Julia Seaton. And she wrote, "If we listen to the words of the failure multitude, we will soon learn that by their words they are justified and condemned." End quote, which basically means they get what they say. And so basically the speak as if technique, which is a phrase that I coined, is that we always want to speak as if those financial outcomes that we would like to see come about either are now or will be reality. We don't want to speak in any other way. Well, at the end of the month, I'm not going to have enough money for this, so here's my B plan. Or, I hope I have enough money for such and such. Or I hope I don't get, downsized and lose my job. we are programming the universe through our subconscious minds with the words we speak. And, I always want to make sure that when I do an interview that people can walk away from it and have something that if they forget my name and never read my book, something that can utterly transform their lives. And this one thing, there'll probably be others. We've probably already talked of others, but this one thing, if they just remember, speak as if, that if I'm speaking about things that I don't want, I'm drawing that to me. And if I only speak as if those financial circumstances I want to bring about either are now or will be reality, then I can transform my life. If they just remember that, it will transform their finances and their life.
Wow. That's really powerful. So are you having any clinics or tech or any items that people can witness, doing any traveling? Are you doing any promotion for the book still?
Well, actually, I'm kind of a recluse at this point, and I'm concentrating more on the writing. I'm writing new books. I just recently published my 10th book, and but I do constantly do radio and podcast interviews. I mean, multiple times a month, and I post those on my website. I write a free monthly Mind, Power, and Money e-zine. And people can also get a free copy of my book, Attract Money Forever. And also, people write me with a question here and there in email or on social media. And so I interact with people and help them in that way. But as far as going out and venturing out and doing, I've done speaking in the past, but at this time, none of that is really on the agenda. I'm really in pretty much full recluse mode at the moment.
So what about if someone wants to connect with you one-on-one? Maybe they have a connection with you and feel like you could mentor them in some way. Is there a way to do that?
There is. And I just, not too long ago opened up for private coaching, but it's, I have to be honest. People will see, they can go to my website and look at the tab on coaching, and I won't mention figures because they could change one way or another by the time somebody's listening to this a year from now or 6 months from now. But for people who can afford that, because my actual time is extremely valuable to me. But I always encourage people. It's almost like I try to discourage them from that. It's like, listen, read the e-zine each month, study the book and read from it every day like I tell you. And, read my other books, listen to my radio interviews, and, because it's all there. But then I do know that certain people want that personal contact, and there's an energy transference and everything else. And so that's why I just recently, not too long ago, opened up that possibility as well. But again, I'll mention again that, I routinely answer people's questions and give insights and things, and I don't charge them for it. But yes, if people want to, sit down with me on Skype or on phone or whatever for an hour at a time and this and that, that is now possible, yes.
Well, that's so awesome. So what's your website? First of all, let's make sure we get the spelling right. It's right. James, James, Goijr. So that's James Goi Jr. And his website is of the exact same spelling that I just gave you, James Goi Jr. For those of you who want to check that out.
Right. JamesGoiJr.com.
What's the last, if you could just impart one last thing on the billionaire lifestyle to the audience, what would you say?
Well, I would say that mind power works, and mind power works for attracting money, and mind power will work for you if you work it. So I want people to know that this is not only something that's possible, but it's absolutely possible for them. They can learn these techniques in a very short time, start applying them immediately, and they can utterly transform their finances and, as a direct result, utterly transform their lives.
Thank you so much for being on the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast.
Yes, well, thank you for having me. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, remember this. We are all of one mind. You may not feel this, but the all is mind. We are a collective. And I say this, as above, so below. And I want to just take it to the very minimum. Let's just start with the eyeballs. If you look out into space, if you can get a good glimpse of a galaxy or a star cluster, they kind of look like those things that are, on either side of your nose, as above, so below. When you get down to the cellular level, we start getting fractal, as above, so below. Now, today is really important because what you think manifests in your life, as above, so below. So it starts in the mind, radiates down to the rest of the world, as above, so below. Till next time, love you all. Peace.